Hello everyone, welcome back to Unveiling Mythical Legends. Today's story comes from ancient Greek mythology, and we will dive deep into the origins of Eros, the god of love. We'll uncover how he was born from the cosmic chaos and became the embodiment of love and harmony. Eros' image is much more complex than you might think. From a mature god of love to a later innocent little angel, his transformation holds profound mythological meaning. Today, let's explore how this powerful god of love led the universe into order and learn about his love story, especially his eternal romance with Psyche. Together, we'll see how they faced trials and challenges, ultimately receiving divine forgiveness and eternal blessings. If you enjoy this topic, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss more fascinating mythical tales. Also, feel free to leave us a comment about your thoughts on the story and share it with your friends. The god of love, Eros, in Hesiod's Theogony, love and harmony born from chaos. In ancient Greek mythology, love and harmony are not only at the core of human life, but also the driving forces behind the universe's workings. Eros, the god of love, embodies this sacred force. According to Hesiod's Theogony, the birth of Eros was far from the sweet and charming depiction often portrayed in later times. Many people associate Eros with the image of an innocent little angel playfully shooting golden arrows to strike the targets of love. However, in reality, his role is much deeper and more complex than these images suggest. The birth of Eros did not emerge from a peaceful setting, but quietly arose from the primordial chaos at the beginning of the universe. At that time, the world was in a state of disorder, with everything chaotic and formless. The elements clashed with one another, unable to form any harmony. It was within this environment that the god of love, Eros, was born. With his boundless influence emerging from the chaos, he brought order and harmony. With Eros's arrival, the formless and conflicting elements, under his powerful guidance, began to organize and take shape, eventually forming a structured order. From this point, the universe gradually began to operate in a more harmonious and organized way. Eros is not only the symbol of love, he also represents a powerful, intangible force in the universe, a force capable of breaking chaos and bestowing shape and order upon everything. His existence can perhaps be understood as an all-encompassing force of harmony, one that guides not only the emotions between individuals, but also the interactions of various elements in the natural world, leading them towards balance. This power allows people to not only find sincere connections in love, but also to experience a profound sense of harmony in daily life. In the earliest accounts of Greek mythology, Eros was not the cherubic figure we recognize today. Instead, he was depicted as a mature young man with extraordinary charm and power. His appearance was handsome, with a determined expression, and he wore a delicate floral crown, symbolizing the flourishing and beauty of nature. In his hand, he held a shepherd's staff, which was not just a tool, but also a symbol of his dominion over love and harmony. This image of the god of love conveyed a sense of sacredness, as though he were an integral part of nature itself, exuding an aura of harmonious coexistence with all things. He is not just a god of love. He is the embodiment of a powerful force. His existence seems to resonate with everything in the natural world, from trees and mountains to stars and oceans. Under his guidance, all things begin to achieve a subtle balance. It is this very presence that led the world out of chaos. Imagine, when the universe first began, everything was in a state of disorder and conflict, with all elements colliding violently. At this moment, the appearance of Eros was like a gentle yet powerful force, gradually untangling and organizing these elements, ultimately giving them form and order. Emerging from chaos, he used the power of love and harmony to bring an initial order to everything, setting the world into motion and allowing it to develop. Over time, the ancient and mystical figure of Eros, the god of love, gradually faded from the historical stage, being replaced by a more humanized image of love. This transformation is closely linked to another important figure in Greek mythology, Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty and love. As the embodiment of love and beauty, Aphrodite gradually took on the role of the love deity in later myths, redefining the image of the god of love. Aphrodite's image is more challenging, filled with temptation and allure. Unlike Eros, who primarily represented intangible love and order, she is more closely tied to human emotions and desires, showcasing the diverse aspects of love. Her depiction often carries an innocent yet mischievous charm, making her both mysterious and captivating. This portrayal makes her image more approachable and connects her more intimately with the emotional world of humans. As Aphrodite's influence expanded, the role of Eros underwent a transformation. He was no longer the powerful and divine young deity, but gradually became depicted as the son of Aphrodite, evolving into a playful and mischievous little god of love. With his bow and arrows, Eros would strike his targets, causing them to fall deeply in love. This portrayal of Eros was in stark contrast to the earlier image of him as the embodiment of order and harmony. Instead, this new Eros reflected the dramatic and uncertain nature of love, resonating with the sweetness and bitterness of human emotions. Aphrodite's jealousy and Eros' growth. In Greek mythology, the story of the growth of Aphrodite's son, Eros, is filled with emotional fluctuations and maternal concern. Despite Eros' unparalleled handsome appearance, he never seemed to grow taller, which caused Aphrodite, as a mother, great worry. To her, her son's development was not just about physical growth, but also about the maturity and holistic development of his emotions. This emotional conflict highlights the tenderness of a mother's love and her deep concern for her son's future. Aphrodite was once perplexed by this situation. Why, despite possessing divine blood and impeccable beauty, did Eros remain stagnant, unable to grow taller like the other gods? Her mood grew heavier as she observed her son's condition. At this point, the oracle Themis appeared and offered her advice. Themis pointed out that Eros' height problem might not be due to a lack of magical powers, but because he was always alone, lacking true companionship and emotional support. This situation hindered his growth, both physically and emotionally. He needed a like-minded partner to help foster his development. Following Themis' advice, Aphrodite decided to find a suitable companion for her son. She chose Eros, the god who symbolized the return of love, the response to love, and the balance within love. Eros' companionship brought a miracle to Eros' growth. When the two love gods, Eros and Eros, were together, Eros' body began to gradually grow stronger. The handsome yet somewhat frail love god, with his brother's presence, revealed a new strength and beauty. His figure became more upright, and his aura became even more divine and captivating. This transformation was not only physical, but also symbolized a profound shift in his inner emotions and power. Eros' presence seemed to not only fill Eros' loneliness, but also grant him the completeness and balance of love. However, this beautiful transformation hid an astonishing truth, which aroused deep curiosity and mystery about the true nature of the god of love. It turned out that this miracle could only happen when the two brothers were together. When they accompanied each other and supported one another, Eros would thrive and reveal his powerful and beautiful form. But once they were separated, whether by accident or other reasons, Eros' body would shrink again, returning to that originally weak and almost invisible state, as if all the changes were nothing more than a fleeting illusion. This phenomenon sparked endless speculation and mystery about the true nature of the god of love. Why did Eros rely so heavily on Eros' companionship? Why could the god of love only reveal his full power and form when they were together? These questions had no clear answers, but they added boundless layers and depth to the myth. Diverse images of Cupid, from the little god of love to a source of artistic inspiration. Over time, the image of Cupid has undergone a gradual evolution and enrichment, transitioning from the initially divine and majestic adult Cupid to the later playful and humorous little Cupids, amours. Each period's depiction of Cupid is closely tied to the cultural and artistic styles of the time. These little Cupids are often portrayed as handsome and charming young deities, exuding not only innocence and vitality, but also a distinctive charm. They frequently appear in various stories, engaging in activities such as hunting, fishing, driving chariots, and even performing mechanical labor, showcasing their versatility and witty humor in mythology. These depictions of Cupid not only reflect the ideals of love held by people of the time, but also carry a considerable sense of realism. Despite being deities, they often exhibit very human qualities. They are not merely symbols of romance or tenderness, but rather dynamic, adventurous figures full of energy. Such an image provided endless creative inspiration for ancient artists. Whether in sculptures from the Greek and Roman periods or in later Renaissance paintings, the figure of Cupid appears in countless works. These artworks often bring Cupid to life, showcasing both his divine and approachable nature, whether in stone carvings or in vibrant painted portraits. Especially in sculptural art, little Cupids, amours, are often depicted as lively young boys with round cheeks adorned with bright smiles, holding bows and arrows, ready to strike their next target. They are frequently shown engaged in various activities, whether playfully frolicking or driving exquisite chariots. These depictions are always full of light-hearted movement, conveying a sense of love's freedom and boundlessness. Moreover, these diverse images of Cupid were not confined to mythological stories alone. They gradually permeated the culture and daily life of the time. In ancient Roman banquets or temple decorations, the image of Cupid was commonly found, from frescoes to pottery, and even on coins. These artworks not only showcased the charm of Cupid, but also reflected the ancient people's understanding of love and beauty, as well as their reverence for romance. Eros and Psyche, an eternal love story. The myth of Eros and Psyche is undoubtedly one of the most poignant interpretations of love and trials, deeply expressing the trials, sacrifices, and ultimate rebirth that love often entails. Psyche, the beautiful princess, is the youngest of three sisters. Her beauty is so divine that even Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, becomes jealous of her. Psyche's unmatched beauty, however, becomes the turning point of her destiny. Although her beauty was unparalleled, Psyche did not take pride in it or become complacent. Instead, she felt confused and anxious about her beauty. Despite possessing such stunning looks, she could not find a suitable husband. Her heart was filled with uncertainty and loneliness, and this unresolved solitude caused her great distress. Her father, unable to resolve his daughter's confusion, sought guidance from the Oracle of Delphi, hoping to receive divine advice. The oracle's response, however, was a shocking fate. It told Psyche's father that his daughter was no ordinary mortal, but was destined to marry a terrible monster, who would take her to a distant and desolate place. According to the oracle's instructions, Psyche's father, instead of resisting fate, followed the directive and dressed her in funeral attire, bringing her to the edge of a cliff, ready to push her off. This tragedy seemed unavoidable. Standing at the cliff's edge, Psyche was filled with despair and fear, yet she could not escape this destined fate. The twists of fate are always filled with surprise and mystery, and Psyche's story is a perfect example of such a miraculous case. Just as she was about to follow the oracle's instructions and jump into the abyss to end her tragic fate, to her surprise, fate did not end her life so mercilessly. In that very moment, the west wind, Boreas, gently brushed against her face, lifting her from the edge of the cliff and carrying her away like a soft breeze, saving her from the imminent death that awaited. Psyche's eyes sparkled with confusion and astonishment, but she did not resist, for deep within her, there remained a glimmer of hope, a belief that perhaps this was another twist of fate, a different plan unfolding for her. The west wind carried her across the vast sky until she landed before a hidden palace. This palace was not of the earthly realm, but nestled in the heart of a picturesque meadow, surrounded by beautiful trees and crystal-clear springs. It seemed like another world, a paradise, a true fairyland. As Psyche entered the palace, her heart was filled with countless doubts and uncertainties, yet at the same time, she sensed an indescribable sense of peace and a strange, magnetic allure. The owner of this palace was none other than Eros, the god of love, who was foretold to be the companion of her fate. When Psyche first laid eyes on Eros, her heart was overwhelmed with curiosity and longing, yet she could not see his true form. Eros placed a strict prohibition on her. She must never look upon his face. This command both mystified Psyche and caused a certain sense of regret and unease. She understood that this forbidden act meant she would never truly know the appearance of this mysterious man. Yet, her heart was irresistibly drawn to him by the power of love. However, the god of love, Eros, did not reveal his true face. He asked Psyche not to try to uncover his identity, urging her to simply cherish the rare love they shared. This love was both mysterious and beautiful, and Psyche's heart was filled with happiness and contradiction. At first, she complied with Eros's request and adhered to the taboo. Her days in the palace were peaceful and tranquil. Each day, she immersed herself in the beauty of this enchanted realm, feeling the nurturing warmth of love. However, as time passed, her curiosity grew stronger, and the desire to know the true face of the god of love became an increasingly powerful longing in her heart. One night, as the moonlight bathed the palace windows, Psyche finally made her decision. She quietly picked up an oil lamp, her heart racing, her hands trembling slightly. With slow steps, she made her way toward Eros's bedroom. She knew that this action could destroy everything she had, but she could no longer resist the overwhelming curiosity. As she gently opened the door to the bedroom and cast the light of the oil lamp inside, she braced herself to confront the terrifying monster she had imagined. However, to her surprise, the ugly monster she expected did not appear. Instead, when the light illuminated Eros's face, Psyche was astonished to discover that the god of love, Eros, was incredibly beautiful. His face and radiance were like those of a divine being from the heavens, mesmerizing and incomparable. The mysterious and intense attraction she had once felt transformed into a real, stunning beauty, leaving Psyche in awe. She had never imagined that the man she loved so deeply would possess such a breathtakingly beautiful appearance. In Psyche's unintentional mistake, a drop of oil fell from the lamp and burned Eros's shoulder. The sudden pain jolted Eros awake from his sleep, and he realized that he had been betrayed. His heart was filled with uncontrollable sadness and disappointment. He looked at Psyche, whose eyes were filled with regret, but he could not bear the pain of this breach of trust. With a heavy heart, he left her, casting aside their beautiful love. Psyche watched helplessly as Eros departed, her heart torn, filled with deep regret and self-blame for not adhering to the forbidden rule. After losing the company of Eros, Psyche's world grew darker. She felt an overwhelming sense of loneliness and despair, and the pain in her heart became nearly unbearable. Eventually, Psyche decided to end her life, believing that she could no longer endure such suffering. However, as she stood on the edge of a cliff, ready to plunge into the abyss. A magical force lifted her body. The water surged around her, not swallowing her up, but gently guiding her to another place. Her mind was a whirlwind, unable to comprehend this twist of fate, but she had no choice but to surrender to the force that led her. The water carried Psyche to a strange new place, a lush meadow where the wind softly rustled the leaves, and the air was filled with a fresh, invigorating scent. It was here that she encountered the shepherd god, Pan. His kind smile and warm words were like sunlight, shining into Psyche's cold heart. Pan told her that, despite her actions having hurt Eros, the god of love still held deep affection for her. He had not truly let go of his feelings for her because of that single drop of oil, and he would return to her side when she needed him the most. Psyche's trials and Eros's forgiveness. The story did not end with Psyche's regret and Pan's comfort. Instead, it brought even more difficult trials and challenges. Psyche knew that she had missed her chance with Eros, the god of love, and was determined to win him back, no matter how hard the road ahead might be. Throughout this long journey, she had only one goal in mind: to regain Eros's love and trust. Psyche's resolve led her on an adventure full of trials. She traveled across the world, searching for the lost god of love. She understood that this path would not be easy, for Eros's forgiveness was not easily obtained. Her first stop was to plead for forgiveness from Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, hoping for her guidance and help. However, to her surprise, Aphrodite showed no compassion. Instead, the goddess treated her with cold indifference and harshness, giving her a series of tasks that seemed nearly impossible to complete. One of the most difficult tasks was for Psyche to journey to a hidden mountain and retrieve a bag of magical gold. This gold symbolized the eternal power of love, but it was guarded by a group of fierce monsters. Throughout this journey, Psyche was on the verge of breaking under the pressure. However, her heart did not falter, and she pressed on with unwavering determination. Just as she was about to lose all hope, Eros's figure appeared once again, silently protecting her. Though he did not reveal his true form, he helped her avoid the monster's attacks and guided her to the hidden stash of gold. As the challenges grew increasingly difficult, Psyche began to feel Eros's presence everywhere. Whenever she encountered insurmountable obstacles, Eros would silently appear, helping her overcome dangers and find a way through. His quiet support filled Psyche's heart with gratitude and belief. She knew that, even though Eros remained hidden in the shadows, he still loved her and held deep feelings for her. Psyche's journey grew increasingly perilous, and one of the most dangerous and daunting tasks she faced was to venture into the underworld to retrieve a box filled with beautiful amulets from Persephone, the queen of the underworld. This box was believed to be a mysterious treasure containing charms that could protect love and the soul, rumored to possess healing and protective powers. Aphrodite assigned this task to Psyche, telling her that only by completing this challenge could she prove her courage and the sincerity of Eros's feelings. However, the underworld was not an easy place to enter. The path was filled with danger and fear. Psyche had to cross dark rivers, traverse the land of the dead, and face various dangers that arose from the underworld itself. Every step was fraught with challenges. She not only had to evade monsters from the underworld, but also confront the dark forces that resided there. This journey drained her, both physically and emotionally, yet her determination never wavered. No matter what, she had to complete this mission, for herself and for the love of Eros. When Psyche finally arrived in the underworld and met Persephone, the queen was moved by her courage and agreed to give her the mysterious box. However, Persephone warned her that the box contained unknown dangers, and it could only be opened under the most cautious circumstances. Psyche listened to the queen's words, took the box, and left the underworld, but her heart was filled with an insatiable curiosity and anxiety. Once back in the mortal world, Psyche's curiosity grew stronger and stronger. She couldn't help but wonder what kind of mystical amulets lay within the box, and if they were as beautiful as the legends claimed. She longed to know more, and in an unguarded moment, Psyche could no longer resist the temptation within her heart. She gently opened the box. However, when she opened the box, it was not the beautiful sight or magical amulets she had imagined. Instead, a thick black smoke suddenly poured out, instantly engulfing her. This smoke was filled with powerful magic, enveloping Psyche's body and mind, and causing her to fall into an eternal sleep, unable to wake. Her body seemed bound by the smoke, unable to resist, and she silently sank into a deep slumber. When Eros, the god of love, discovered that Psyche had once again fallen into a deep sleep, his heart was filled with sorrow and worry. Psyche's mistake had led her back into a dire situation, but this time, Eros did not choose to give up. Instead, he decided to step forward once again to save her. The god of love knew that Psyche did not make the mistake intentionally. Her actions stemmed from a deep desire for love and curiosity. Yet, he also understood that such impulsive behavior had caused great harm to her and to their love. Eros silently appeared beside Psyche, and upon seeing her helplessly lying there, consumed by the deep sleep brought on by the black smoke, a profound pain welled up in his heart. The helplessness he felt was unbearable, so he took out his golden arrow, gently aimed it at Psyche, and used the magical arrow to awaken her. As the arrow's light shimmered, Psyche's eyelids fluttered, and her consciousness slowly returned, pulling her from the long slumber she had been trapped in. When Psyche opened her eyes and saw Eros standing beside her, her heart was filled with deep guilt and overwhelming gratitude. She lowered her head, unable to face the sorrow and disappointment in his eyes. Eros looked at her gently. Though his heart couldn't hide his disappointment, he didn't lash out at her. Instead, he softly reproached her, saying, "Psyche, your curiosity and impulsive actions have once again tested our love. While I know you never meant to hurt me, your actions have placed you in an inescapable situation." Psyche's eyes were filled with regret, knowing she had made an unforgivable mistake. Yet, she was still willing to take responsibility for her actions and earnestly begged Eros for forgiveness. Eros gazed at her sincere eyes, and the anger in his heart gradually subsided, replaced by an overwhelming sense of love and compassion. He understood that Psyche's heart was full of longing for love, and that these mistakes were merely part of her journey toward maturity. Eros not only sought forgiveness for her, but also decided to take her to face the final judgment. He asked his mother, Aphrodite, for forgiveness, hoping to gain her understanding and mercy. However, Aphrodite remained unmoved by Psyche's plea and continued to show indifference to her mistakes. Yet, this did not cause Psyche to lose hope. She knew that her actions could not completely change the god's opinion, but she was willing to face all consequences and accept the fate that awaited her. In the end, Zeus, the supreme deity of the gods, decided to grant Psyche the ultimate mercy. He saw her transformation from a mortal filled with mistakes and confusion into a soul who had come to understand love and perseverance. Moved by her courage and determination, Zeus chose to accept her as immortal and bestowed upon her a divine status. The reunion of Psyche and Eros, after countless trials and challenges, was finally celebrated with the grandest of festivities, witnessed by all the Olympian gods. This sacred celebration symbolized the triumph of love, and it bridged the realms of the gods and mortals, marking a new chapter in their shared story. The three Graces, embodiments of joy and beauty, scattered fragrant petals along the path of this beloved couple, filling the air with the sweet scent of beauty at every step. The Ori, the goddesses of the seasons, joined in, sprinkling rose petals across the sky. Each rose petal seemed to be a testament to divine love, shimmering with light. The melody of this celebration was played by Apollo, whose beautiful music from his lyre was filled with deep affection and harmony. As if proclaiming the victory and eternity of love, the Muses, not to be outdone, raised their voices in a beautiful chorus, echoing throughout the entire divine realm, spreading joy and happiness to all who listened. This celebration seemed to elevate the love between Eros and Psyche into a timeless cosmic force. No matter how time may pass, this love would endure, continuing to illuminate all things. The meaning of this myth goes far beyond just a romantic tale. It deeply reveals the process of the evolution and purification of the human soul. In this story, every pain and trial that Psyche endures is a part of her soul's growth. She must go through a series of hardships and suffering to truly understand the meaning of love and sacrifice, and ultimately reunite with Eros in love. This also symbolizes how the human soul must go through the trials and purification of life before returning to its original divine nature, achieving true harmony and fulfillment. And so, today's myth ends here. The love story of Eros and Psyche reminds us that love is not just about sweetness and romance, but, more importantly, about growth and sacrifice. We hope you enjoyed this journey filled with mystery and magic, and found some inspiration along the way. If you liked our video, please remember to give us a thumbs up and share with friends who are interested in myths. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss more fascinating stories. Feel free to leave a comment below and share your favorite mythical characters with us. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.